Good morning, traders. Today is Friday, August 12th. My name is Charles, and this is the Pirate Traders live stream. All right, well, first things first, the market opens in 4 minutes. What do we expect? We expect some chop. Why do we expect chop? Well, because that's what the overnight did. It basically just rotated. It rotated around down here, right around our close. Finally pushed its way back above the resistance that we created with the base of our single prints down. And then they rotated up here at higher prices, right around yesterday's POC. So that means we are opening right smack dab inside the middle of yesterday's range, increasing the odds of chop. Okay, the levels I'll be watching. To the upside, the overnight high is the first thing I'll be keeping an eye on. If we're able to push our way above that overnight high, come back down and find support, I'll be looking to repair the weak H period high we left behind yesterday, and then monitoring for continuation higher from there. And then to the downside, in the terms of chop, I would look at this node right here, in between like 42.12 and 42.17. as potential support. And so I basically just be looking for the market on the open to kind of grind inside that overnight range. So if we break above the overnight high, I would look for continuation higher. And if we got through this node right here, pretty much back through yesterday's closing price, I would be looking to monitor for continuation lower. Now, the most important thing for us to keep in mind, the most bullish thing for us to keep in mind this morning, is the fact that we have successfully broken out of a balance that we were stuck in for quite a while here. Okay, this channel, we were stuck in this for a long time, and we're just now breaking out. So balance often leads to excess. We can expect the market to continue to move higher from here. Is it possible that we just spend the day rotating right around on top of this balance area, basically inside that overnight range all day and go nowhere? It's possible, but to me, because of the fact that we're breaking out, it's the least likely scenario. Certainly not impossible, but it's the least likely. I think we're either going to get bullish and continue higher today, or we're going to fail, pull back down into the range, and get a bit of selling. So how we handle the opening chop, bouncing up and down with inside this overnight range, will give us an insight as to what to expect. Get above that high, find support, look for continuation. Below the low, look for resistance, continuation. Chop in the middle. And if we don't get, so if we push above the overnight high and we don't find support, or we push below the support down there and we don't get resistance when we come back up, well, then we would know it's door number 3, and we're just going to rotate today. So sit back, relax, and let's watch the chop. Market opens in 1 minute. I would describe myself as neutral to bullish, but obviously I can get bearish very quickly if this support breaks. Okay, so with both the narrative of being inside the previous day's range and expecting chop, and with the narrative of the overnight inventory being net long and us needing a counter auction to the downside, both of those things are reasons for the market to push down looking for support here. So if it doesn't, if it's able to just immediately head up above that overnight high, that would be bullish in a when what should happens doesn't. But for the moment, the higher probability is a counter auction to the downside. And chop. Scooball, how the match went, we lost. Unfortunately, it did not go well. But we got real drunk about it, and that was fun. Michael just signed up for the fall intensive with Jim Dalton. Glad to hear it, man. Let us know what you think. AD, I'm in a kickball league, and we had a game yesterday. Last game of the season for us. It was the game to get into the finals, and we lost. So we're done. What sport is this? Kickball? You guys don't know what kickball is? Were you never in like elementary school? It's like baseball, but you kick the ball instead. And the way you get people out is you throw the ball to them and you hit them with it. It's literally a sport for children, and I play it in an adult league, and it's so much fun. Yesterday's close was at 4 p.m. or 4:15. I always count the close as at 4 p.m. So when you hear me reference the previous day's close, yeah, it's that 4 p.m. Well, it's too early to make a call, obviously, because we're still in the chop zone here. But it's starting to feel bullish to me. That was not much of a counter auction to the downside. So let's see if we can get through this resistance and test that overnight high. TV, how did I determine yesterday? Where did the time and the volume taper off? Overnight, where did the time and the volume taper off? Yesterday, time and volume taper off. Overnight, time and volume taper off. Largest node of volume, largest node of volume. Chop zone pointing itself. Ben, just shoot me an email. Also, going to be doing some maintenance on the website this weekend. Should hopefully fix all these problems we've had. The login and the page loading errors. If you try to use the website this weekend and it's down, like if you try to go watch the e-course or you try to read the blog or whatever, and you can't get to it because the site is down, just try again in a couple hours. I'll be doing that maintenance periodically. We got 192 people hanging out. What's up, everyone? Only 61 of you think I'm likable? Well, that hurts my feelings on the deep down. Smash that like button if you want to find support above the overnight high. All right, so this is starting to get bullish here. If we can bring in new buyers up here, the target becomes repairing the weak reference at 42.41. And then monitoring for continuation higher from there. Do have a low volume node in need of backfilling here. So now what we would like to see is this area where we built up the resistance just now. We'd like to see that become support. That would also be bullish if we don't get it at the overnight high. Jeff, where would you short the ES today? Well, it's an interesting question. At this point, I don't see a reason to short it anytime soon. Obviously, if it fails and pulls back in the previous balance area, right, breaks back below this trend line, starts heading back down, that's obviously a short. And if it had broken out of the chop zone to the downside, then I'd be looking for a short. But right now, I'm almost ready to start looking for a long once we confirm support. So I'm not looking for a short at all. Maybe shorting if we get a push up towards yesterday's high and we can't break yesterday's high. When we get cessation or whatever up there, maybe then. But I don't see one now. All right, well, this feels like support at the overnight high, which is bullish. All right, so the overnight high did not hold. Now we're testing that halfback. Are the buyers waiting? All right, so this is me doing a little bit of guessing here, more so than waiting for confirmation, but I have a feeling we're about to get some support. So I am bullish to head up and repair that weak reference at 42.41, as long as we stay above 42.28. Moment of truth. Okay, so we are finding that support. Is it enough to get us back up above that overnight high? John Doe, big number. Michigan sentiment at 10 a.m. Say it ain't so. Well, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. But I'm still bullish to repair that weak reference at 42.41. Sentiment or not. John Doe. So your sentiment on the sentiment is not sentimental. I agree with your sentiment there. All right, if you are in a long trade here, you may consider putting your stop tick above your entry. He shouldn't really be having this hard of a time getting back above the overnight high. So I think we're starting to build some resistance here, which feels more like chop than it does momentum. So nothing wrong with taking the risk off the table and moving your stop above your entry. Screwball, if my entry is above, well, just wait it out. The probability is still in your favor, right? We're finding support at the halfback, and we have a weak reference in need of repair above. Mateus, thank you for saying so. Appreciate it, brother. All right, so we're testing this support once again. I am losing faith in it, though. It shouldn't be this hard to get back above that overnight high. So if we pull back down towards 42.28 again, it might break this time around. But until it does, the higher probability is still the repair of the weak reference above. BQ, don't forget numbers in 3. I get it, guys. Anything can happen. The market can take off like a rocket. It can dump. It can just jump up and down real quick and bring in a bunch of volume. I get it. But until such an event takes place, that's still my target. Oh, also, I just noticed we only have 5 contracts at the high. Generally, if we have less than 100 contracts at the high, it increases the odds. We need a little more trade up there. But when I only see 5, I just kind of ignore that as a fluke. So ignoring that, we have good taper on the high. All right, well, there's your sentiment numbers. And your bots reading the news. They're going long. They're going short. It's good. It's bad. The actual was 55.1 and the forecast was 52.5. Oh, no. Say it isn't so. How will the market react? All right, so they're liquidating. Remember, a liquidation break can strengthen a market. So if they get support and they pull back up to 42.28, then it was just a liquidation break. And we can expect momentum to the upside. But if new sellers start to pile on here, that would be bearish for continuation lower. All right, so that was the retracement of the liquidation. So now we figure out, are there new sellers that want to start to pile on? Or does the market go back to business as it was beforehand? All right, the ticks are right on the 0 line here, so whichever way they break, the market should follow. If they can stay above the 0 line and continue to push higher, the market should start to turn around and head back up. But if they get smacked down back below the 0 line again, the sellers are stepping in. Smackdown of the ticks. We got new sellers in the market. All right, so I would call us back in a chop zone once again. This is now the resistance, and we'll look for support. down here around 42.14. Same as before. So this is only chop until we get the C period printed. Andromeda, if the tick ever opens above positive 1,000 or below negative 1,000, do you gauge that as the market being overbought, oversold for a scalp at the open? There are certainly a lot of traders that do that. It's not a trade I'm interested in personally, because I have seen times where the overnight inventory is completely net long. And, you open up like today. Today's a great example. You open up inside the previous day's range. We were expecting chop to come down here and look for support down here. But what did it do instead? Just buyers instantly stepped in and took it above the overnight high. So if you'd have shorted right at the open, you would have had to have known to take profits here, or you would have been screwed. And I don't know how you would have known to take profits here. So for a scalp, a quick point or two, sure. But anything beyond that, you don't mess with chop. It's too unpredictable. You wait for more information before you make a decision. I mean, I'd be willing to bet that somewhere out there right now, there's somebody whose whole expertise, literally all they do every day, is just observe the overnight inventory and trade for a reaction in the first hour of the day. And that's their trade. And every day, if they think the market's going to go down as a counter auction, they're short at the open. And if they think it's going to be up, they're long. And they're done in the first half an hour of every day. I bet you that person exists. It's just not for me. All right, NQ looking a little bullish here, back above its overnight high, and they've now got the initial balance going to the upside, pushing into some resistance right now. So you can look for support on a pullback at the overnight high, 13,417. Do they get support there? ES has got to get above its overnight high to convince me to get bullish again. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. Well, you don't get fooled twice. Also, I didn't catch it at the time, but that liquidation break found support right at the 20 moving average on the 15-minute candles. The computers bought it on up. Okay, so next resistance above for the NQ is 13,454, which was the base of those single prints down yesterday, the base of that second distribution. So we would be expecting some resistance there today, but if they can poke through it, then the opening price of yesterday, 13,490. ES still trying to get above that overnight high. Mark D, look how many times we've been back and forth through the open. Yes, sir. And it's literally right at yesterday's POC. The market loves to come back to the fairest price to do business. It's a nice, safe place. Screwball B high week. Yep. B high is weak because it's the same as the overnight high. Ben, if I can't log in, how do I join the live stream in 15 minutes? You'll never be able to. You're totes screwed. No, you'll get an email. And if you don't, just shoot me an email. I can't, while I'm live streaming right now, I can't answer. But once we switch over to the other stream, I'll get to you. I never, ever leave anyone out in the cold. Oh, speaking of leaving you out in the cold, I'm also going to be going on vacation the last week of the month. So you guys are going to have to go without me for a whole 5 days. Can you take it? Jeff, you're my boss. What's funny, though, is I take less vacation since I started doing this than I used to take when I was an editor. But yeah, now I just take it whenever I want. Yeah, 29th to the 2nd, correct. All right, success. We made it above the overnight high. That's got me bullish, but I do now want to see us break this downtrend in the ticks and make a new high. The target, once again, is repairing the weak reference at 42.41 and monitoring for continuation higher from there. Okay, we got a poor high here. Poor high increases the odds the market is going to push away, looking for support, then come back to repair that poor high. Man, the more I look at these ticks, the more I feel like we're setting ourselves up for a rotational day. They just cannot seem to get any momentum to the upside. Now, obviously, they should still be able to repair the poor high in this weak reference, but I'm starting to think we're going to run out of steam right away. As I suspected, low volume. This is short-term traders. There's no confidence here. All right, last chance at support here to head up and repair that poor high. No to volume, opening price, and half back. Good strong support. These magnets are a tugging. They're pulling. Come on. All right, well, this much two-sided trade, we know what this means, right? One of these two sides is setting up the other one to get squeezed. So I suspect if we do break back below the support that we have here around the halfback, we're going to get a big push lower as we squeeze out the longs. So I remain bullish as long as we're above 42.28. But if we break below there, we're likely to liquidate. So I would get bearish quick. And unfortunately, I must leave it there. So yeah, that's the level I would watch, you guys. Look for support around 42.30. And if it breaks below 28, look for a liquidation and potential move lower. But if they can poke above that A and B period high, they will be one time framing higher. And there'll be a lot of shorts to get squeezed. So we can look for momentum to the upside. If they just repair those weak references and then they get no momentum, right? So if we pop up here, we repair this, and then we pull right back down, well, then we're going to probably have a rotational day. So what we would want to see is the repair, come back down, find support. Or probably actually find support at the overnight high. So with that, I bid you all farewell. I hope you have an awesome weekend. It's summer. Get out there and have some fun. Get some sun. It's good for your health. And we will see you here on Monday morning. Thank you all very much. If you're in the brigade, if you were one of the brave, the honorable, the intelligent few who joined the brigade, well then let's freaking ride.